Okay, so good afternoon. Again, my name is Chris Navin. I'm the Director of Marketing at HomeGauge. This is quite a unique experience. It's been really amazing to see everybody come together today. Quite the turnout. First of all, we had 1,000 registrants, which blew us all away. We are so excited to know that we're that popular. So that's been pretty cool. Hope you've all had a great time so far. If you've been able to attend some sessions, it's been pretty cool to see how it's unfolded. So this is how it's going to go. I'm going to start off producing your social media training, and then we'll have a quick bio break after the training and Q&A is over, and we'll introduce our next speaker as well. So stay tuned for my next slide. So what I want to talk about today is kind of how life is changing all around us. And I think we're all excited to be here, but there's always a little bit of weirdness going on around all of us. So we are sort of putting the perspective on this is, looking for different ways to find luck during this interesting time. It might feel like we're down on our luck, like we're not prepared, and that's okay. But we can finally kind of take a look at, your online profiles and things you can do that maybe make you feel a little bit better, at least for while we're sitting here and trying to build up our business in the meantime. So thank you guys for being here. That's of course my first and foremost thing. It's not thank you just for me for being here in my training, but thank you to everybody else who you're here with. Everybody participating and being here makes this possible for everybody to come together and learn and grow during such an interesting time. So thank you. Happy to have everybody. We'll go through who I am real quick and why I'm talking to you right now. We'll go through my topics in this training, maybe give away a prize, and then we'll do some quality Q&A so that we can make sure that we're answering all of your specific questions related to social media. Really how I'm going to do this today is more of make you aware of the things that exist so that you can do these things, not necessarily go through a training and tell you how to do each and everything. I'll also provide you with some links and things when we post the recorded sessions at the end of the track as well. So who am I? Again, Director of Marketing. I work with a really amazing team at HomeGauge on all the communications, all of our content, paid media, social media, email, all of it. Really, really hardworking team, and I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm an entrepreneur. I've owned businesses in the past. I have been in the agency side, on the corporate side, small businesses, large businesses, all sorts of different things. I'm currently located in Denver, Colorado, and love it out here. It's really great. So I am a few hours behind the East Coasters, but I'm sure there's a few others here too. So I just want to get a little bit about me real quick, just so you know who I am. Again, I've been in the marketing world for almost 15 years, doing various different roles, and I'm really, really happy to be here at HomeGauge with this awesome team. A little bit more about me. I'm a little bit of a nerd, like I said. Love to cook. Really like being outdoors. Yes, those are some of my actual gardens. My family's from Vermont. I love being on the lake, on the water. And I'm also a dog dad, so I've got this really cute little 5-year-old little dude named Trevor, who is my sidekick, my companion everywhere. Really good dog. Makes me happy, especially during these times. So I figured I'd share him with you guys too. I also like some wine by the fireplace. Don't judge me, not a real fireplace, but hey, who needs a real fireplace? Again, I said I was a nerd. I told you guys. So really getting into the meat of this, what I really want to talk about today is sort of framed within this quote. So luck is when preparation meets opportunity. When I was growing up, my father was always saying this quote to me. He is a state fire marshal. He interacts with inspectors a lot in tons of different capacities across the state, and always was a fan or a big proponent of doing things the right way the first time. And so his philosophy that I kind of took with me and always thought this was an interesting way of looking at life was luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So let's think about it a little bit more depth. It's pretty simple. It's all about being prepared. If you're thinking ahead, you're filling the gaps, you're paying attention to all of these small things, and you're setting yourself up for luck to find you. So putting this sort of into the perspective of this session itself, we're going to make sure that we're all prepared, whether it's at a baseline, whether you're not a big user of social media, whether you're not tech savvy, it's okay. There's some really basic things that we can all do to fill those gaps, to make sure that you're being prepared so that when the opportunity comes, you will be the lucky one and you're not just looking at the other ones who were already better prepared. So I know social media may be a little bit overwhelming to you. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that you can't get it in there and set it up the way that it needs to be set up and just leave it. At the very least, think of it sort of as, a business listing. So let's go a little bit deeper into that sort of mindset here. So it's all the little things that count. Social media can really be overwhelming. Like I said, there's a lot of ins and outs. You don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to be some tech savvy guru, but it's really the little things that count when it comes to sort of sowing the seeds and making sure that you're poised for growth. Especially right now, you want to be at your strongest when you come out of this interesting time. So let's talk a little bit about these things. So social profile information is really important. It's essentially, like I said before, really like a business listing. So make sure that all the information that you have online across the board is consistent and that it's actually there and it's put somewhere. Again, you don't have to interact with this necessarily. You don't have to go back and do too much unless there's major changes, but it's just really getting that basic data out there in your social profiles, which are used as, sort of examples of data when people are trying to find you. Business listing detail, it might sound like it doesn't really have a place in social media, but actually social media has become a very big marketplace for businesses. So you will want to make sure that your business listings themselves are on each social media page. And I will, again, like I said, I'm going to want you to know these things are here, but I will send links to all these things I'm discussing when we post this recorded session after next week. So you'll want to make sure you have business listing detail even on your social media pages. You want to make sure that detail is consistent when the search engines and people generally are looking for you online. They're going to want to make sure that they're going to want to see that all your information is consistent, that you're not, somebody who's not really available or seems a little bit sketchy and that sort of thing. So consistency is really big too, no matter where you're putting the information. You also, of course, this may be given to some of you, but you want to put some links to your website, whether it is from anything you're posting on social media, whether it is your bio or some profile information. Make sure that you're providing your customers or people that are looking at your information a way to get to you and communicate with you, because that's really important. And then your HomeGauge account profile, also a very simple thing that you can do to maximize your social media impact. So let me just show you really quickly what I mean here. So when you go to HomeGauge.com, let me just double check that I'm not missing something here. Okay. So when you go to HomeGauge.com, if you're not an inspector, this is what HomeGauge.com looks like before you log in. It's just HomeGauge.com. Click over here to the login button if you haven't logged in or don't have an username. We can get you registered. So this is what the HomeGauge dashboard looks like when you sign in. Only thing I want to show you right now is nothing major, but when you sign in on your left-hand menu there, you're going to want to go down to Profile right here and click it. And then right in here is Social Networks. So all this is you entering the link to each of these that you own. So it's a very simple thing. If you don't own one, again, create a Facebook page, put that appropriate info in there, and then take the link and put it here. What this does is when you export or provide a digital inspection report to your customers, these little icons will actually be at the top of that report if you have these filled out. So this will help you be able to get traffic just from those reports alone. And that's just one really big and easy way to have this sort of set up for success. And again, you're not hindering your ability to be that lucky guy once the opportunity arises. So I just wanted to show you that really quick. Thought that was a quick, interesting one. Again, when you sign in on your dashboard, you go over to Profile and then down to Social Networks, and it'll bring this page up. We'll talk a little bit more about a page versus a profile in a minute as well. I know there could be some confusion between the two, and if you need one or the other. If you don't use Facebook, how do you get a business page? So we'll get into that in a minute. All right, let's get back to this. So generally, I like to say it's the power of your words that really gets you going on the internet. No matter where you're writing, what type of content, your words that are being put on the internet, they're somewhere, they're everywhere, they're going to be found, whether it's your customers looking for you, whether it's people who aren't customers yet who are searching for something similar. You want to be able to come up with relevant terms. So you don't have to be a wordsmith. You don't have to be again, tech savvy or anything super crazy, you know what you do. If you can write that out in the simplest terms and provide your strengths there, you can make it consistent across all different platforms, put all of your contact information in there appropriately and consistently, and it'll be really, really important as a really good, foundational strategy for you. Like I said, search engines and your customers consider content from all sources. So when they Google something, whether it's your name, your business, or just something similar like home inspector in your local area, they will see content from any source that's online, unless you have some very strict privacy policies on. This is inclusive of social media, of your website, any content you put on there, YouTube videos, search, social media posts, and your content profiles. So there's a lot of places where your information is going to be pulled from when people are searching. And so you want to make sure it's accurate and to the point. You can get those customers in. You can also start writing about your experiences too. Just writing down, something that you found in an inspection that, you think maybe more people should know about. Maybe you even start, a chronicles of your inspections eventually, or even chronicles about what it's like to be dealing with this situation right now as a home inspector. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in terms of different media in a minute too. But writing stuff down, you don't necessarily have to make it the prettiest, but if you can start writing stuff down and you have some content, it's there's some pretty easy ways you can get it posted. And then podcasts. Podcasts really are a glorified, I guess, tape recorder. Technology is growing fast, and we love to get these big words to go with it, and things change quite frequently in that respect. But if you really think about it, back in the day, you press the play and you record your voice and you press stop. You can do what you wish with that tape, play it in a speaker. Right now, it's the same thing. It's just that recording is digital, and then you can place it in all sorts of different spots. So if you don't like writing, maybe you prefer to talk or to speak, create a podcast. Find the function on your computer or on your phone, any device really, and start recording some sessions. Of course, you want to make sure that they're usable and beneficial to your buyer or your customers as well. Always a little bit of a balance there, but always just interesting, quick, easy way, free, of course, to make new content and to engage people with a little bit more depth, especially if you aren't tech savvy and you don't want to use social media all the time. You can just create something right from your phone. And don't forget, the pressure isn't just on you guys to be, on social media and to get your profiles done and to make yourself a little bit more known on social media, but it's up to your influencers. That's why they're there. That's why these are influencers. And when I say influencer, I don't mean some big celebrity, some big social media person that's untouchable, especially with our industry. I mean, being local is really important. So use local influencers to sort of be influenced or to share or be a part of different local things that maybe, you can get some free mileage out of on social media. You could be tagged in certain things. You could tag other people. You can just see what they're doing for their own content to get inspiration for you. Or in generally, if they just make you happy, follow them so you can see them every day and stay in a good mood. But this world is bigger. The social media world is way bigger than just your profile, and you can rely on other things like being a part of a charity. For instance, Habitat for Humanity. A lot of people I know are a part of that as well. Just things that can put you in the world of something bigger, and then you can be, maybe you'll even be in pictures, or you'll be tagged by them, or you can tag them saying you were a part of this, or things like that. And again, even if you're not on social media, when you're a part of something bigger, you're naturally put onto the internet. So these people, if you're in a charity and they're going to give you, or they're going to take a picture of everybody at the end of building a house or something like that, they're going to post that picture online, and they may say, they may have gotten your name, your business name, and you might be in the caption of that image, and in which case then you're online in a digital form and people can find you that way. So you don't even necessarily need to be on social media to be involved with people who are on social media, if you catch my drift. So there's a lot of things like that you can think of too. And of course, join online tradings, webinars, events just like these. Obviously, you guys are ahead of the game and you're interested and open-minded in doing all of these cool new things. And that's pretty great too, because quite honestly, there's so many things that are on everybody's minds now, and bettering yourself and being a part of that is great. So again, really important stuff here. And follow your idols while we're talking about sort of being happy and positive and doing what you like. Follow people who make you happy. Again, get some information and some content from them that might be useful. As I sort of alluded to before, all of these profiles and things are really sort of the new yellow pages, if you want to put it that way. It seems daunting. It seems like there's all these different technologies, but really, if you think about it, beforehand, you had to call or write the newspaper. You had to call or write the yellow pages to get your information in there. And all you have to do now is just input that into your computer and let those listings be there as well. Some examples of these places are online newspapers. A lot of your local newspapers will have an online edition typically. So you can find how to get a part of that. Google, go on their website, see what their requirements are. They usually have it on their website. Business listing websites, Google My Business is a big one. Bing Places is another one. So all the big search engines typically have business listing capabilities that you're going to want to check out too. And again, I will provide links to those so you can read about them. And there's always tutorials and videos and articles on how to do that as well. Of course, like I mentioned before, your social profiles. Search engines are kind of pulling all of this together to really find the data for those people who are looking at you, to put all their information together. Reviews are huge as well. I don't know if you may have, if you're a HomeGauge inspector, you may have seen the Capterra reviews going around. Really helpful for us to gain feedback. They did get a little bit annoying to some of you. I apologize for that. But they were actually really, really good method of getting feedback for us. And we, not surprisingly, but to our excitement, we actually ended up receiving pretty much all positive, amazing reviews and keeping our score where it was. So that was really cool too. So that isn't only good for some clout and some slack on search engines, but it also provides a little bit of perspective for your customers when they're seeing all these reviews and saying, okay, this person's online, they're around, people have seen him before, we can trust him. And like I've talked about too, local focus, really important to make sure that you're connecting with any of your local network and industry partners, because it's a really powerful tool to be able to at least follow or be connected to those local influencers. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Now we'll go into the specifics. Excuse me. We'll go into the specifics of each of the main social media platforms and kind of give you an idea of why you should be using them or how you can use them. So we'll start with Facebook here. There is a function, and this may be for a little bit more of the intermediate folk on this call, if you're looking to maybe up your game a little bit on social media, especially Facebook, or if you are posting quite frequently and you want to manage in a different, more effective way, you can use the Business Manager. The Facebook Business Manager essentially pulls all of the posts and the information from that into its own little platform, sort of like its own dashboard. And what it does is makes it easier for you to see everything that you're posting, to understand the metrics and all the data that comes behind it, how many people who clicked on it, engaged, etc. And it pulls it all into one place. If you're going to be going a step further and doing maybe some paid ads, it's also a really helpful place to have your ad information overlaying with your organic content and post information. So really, it's Business Manager is something to consider if you are starting to manage a little bit more content, more people, maybe even if you want to allow some of your inspectors in there, if you're a multi-inspector company. A lot of really good additional business features and settings in there. So again, send you a link to that too so you can read about it, but I just want you to know it's there because it is a really good resource to have. Again, if you're a little bit more tech savvy as well, you could create events on Facebook, or if you have more of a following, if you create an event, especially locally, you can get a lot of people in there and you can really start some good conversations. You can network through that event. You can follow up through the event, and then it shows in different forms, in different ways on Facebook to people who may be interested in that event, or to have people who have friends that are going to that event. So you get a little bit of organic traction there as well by just creating an event and having some movement in there. So you can think about that too. I guess an example of that, could be an inspector Q&A. You could do something similar to what we've done this morning, and you could hold a Q&A event and have people there. So it'd be really interesting. to see what kind of things that you can come up with, but it's a really good option. Another one I kind of alluded to mentioning before is page versus profile. On Facebook, you have to create a profile, as in a personal account for in order to create a business page. So you have to have a personal profile to create a business page. However, if you are not somebody who's on social media, as we discussed earlier, you don't have to be on social media to have a page. You can create a really, really basic Facebook account. And then after creating that account, then you can create your page from that account. You never have to really use that account again, as long as you create that sort of business listing in Facebook, which would be your page, and then all the information is correct there. Occasionally, if you don't log in very much, you should go in and maybe check to see if people have followed you, so that you at least can entertain the idea of growing your user base or leveraging that audience. But again, you don't need to have daily use of your personal Facebook page or any Facebook page in order to at least create that business profile page and get your information out there on that social media platform. Again, sort of this goes into everything. You want to connect with your buyers in as many ways as you can. You want to connect with anyone in your local community that is a part of your world, whether it's an influencer, whether it's your customers, whether it's other people in the industry. You want to make sure that you're connecting. And this is just yet another way, another means of doing that. And again, all of this is free still. So we're not talking, taking anything out of your wallet in order to get here. And then just so you know, if you are into sort of spreading your wings a little bit on social media, Facebook and Instagram are partnered now. So there's a lot of consistencies between the two. And if you wanted to reach another audience in an easy way, you can download that business manager and you can actually post things to both platforms if you have a Instagram profile. So that's an interesting way to sort of leverage another platform without having another tool or another place to go to do that. So it makes it a little bit easier. And it's an audience that isn't necessarily on Facebook. So when we talk about LinkedIn now, this is really switching to full business focus. On Facebook and some of the other platforms, I really like to make sure you mix in a little bit of humanity, a little bit of humanizing yourself, a little bit of personality. People want to know who you are, but they also want to know you're good at what you do. So that's sort of, I think of these social media platforms as a little bit different pieces of your personality that Google and search engines and things can bring all together to really format a overall view of who you are. And again, even if you don't use social media, if all your profiles are here and everything's set up correctly, you still have that overall view there for people to find. So with LinkedIn, we like to stay with business content for the most part and connect with the industry there. Really try and understand or try and be ahead of the game in terms of publications and following really reputable sources, so that you can even if you're scrolling by articles as you're mindlessly scrolling, as many of us do. The headlines and the pieces of information that really stick with us, we're scrolling by and they stick with us even if we're scrolling by. So it's really always great to just have a really great network of business contacts and industry connections in your industry, even just in the background. Just kind of helps keep that mindset, in my opinion. And again, if you're going to connect on LinkedIn, make sure you're connecting professionally. Facebook, maybe you could use Messenger and send people some messages and whatnot in a different capacity. But I think with LinkedIn, you really want to keep it extra professional, because when people are on LinkedIn and when they're engaging with you on LinkedIn, they expect a more professional tone than they do when you're on Facebook. So just keep that in mind. And be a resource for these people. Be a resource for anyone who's coming to look for you. So if you're going to have social media, or you're not, even if you're not going to have your social media, active, make sure there's something in your profile when you're setting it up that provides somebody who found you with some value. So whether it's a link to one of your YouTube pages because you have some really good videos there, whether it's a link to a really great industry article that sort of defines your philosophy of home inspection, anything like that, just try and add another layer in there and be a resource for anybody coming to you. And if you are a user and you're going to be on LinkedIn, you can always share other people's information, sort of going back to that. It's not only on you, you're allowed to share other people's information. There's a lot of really great information out there to share. So keep that in mind as well. And again, you can also just be a profile, but just make sure you have your accurate information. YouTube is a pretty big hitter these days, especially because it's owned by Google. Enough said. It's obviously it's got some some clout there because it's owned by such a big company. It's integrated to so many of the analytics platforms and the social media networks and the um, uh, search engine keywords and all that. It's all integrated so closely now. So it's a really powerful tool. It's also a unique way to showcase your knowledge. So while you might feel that you don't know what you would record, you could pick a topic that interests you in the home inspection world, and you can just record even just audio and start practicing. Then again, sort of maybe start with a podcast style um, script. You don't have to do much. You can do it on your own. You can record yourself. Nobody needs to hear it immediately, and you can perfect it as you go. But you got to start somewhere, and you want to be unique. And everyone's doing the same thing now. So if you've got some perspective you want to share, or you've got some piece of knowledge you just learned maybe after 10 years of doing home inspections, or maybe something new has popped up that didn't used to exist, share it on here. You could do short videos. You can do a quick mini series. You could do audio only. But either way, it's a really powerful content impact, really unique way to sort of showcase your skills and your intelligence in this industry. And they're pretty easy to make and post. Again, I'll send you some links to that show some resources for YouTube as well. My next thing here on is, really if you're going to be, again, if you're a little bit more advanced and you want to spread your wings, you're doing a little bit of paid media maybe, or a little bit of boosting to get to a bigger audience, especially, I know right now, not necessarily, anyone's first choice to be spending money anywhere. However, it's always good to be prepared, as we've been talking about. So in the future, just know something really good to have in the back of your head is that video views are really cheap. So if you decide you do want to spend $20, $30 just to get something out there to promote something in a specific season, or to help yourself get back on your feet after this is all over, videos are almost the cheapest way to go when it comes to putting your money towards something. So keep that in mind. It's a really great way to get you out there, get you differentiated, and provide different ways of interacting. So something else that we don't usually consider when we talk about social media is their website. It's becoming more and more interactive, more and more integrated with everything that you do, especially digitally. So let's consider your website a social media platform, and let's make sure that you are on top of it. Make sure your details are updated, as we talked about. Please put links to and from your website, whether it's to and from your social media pages, to and from blogs that you've done. Maybe you're linking to your website in one of your Facebook groups or events that you've created if you're on that track. Also, links from other sources to your website are really helpful as well. And again, when people are coming to your website, they're then indirectly coming to your social media, and they're looking up all your information. So they're already interested in you. You want to make sure you're showcasing your best content. You've got links from reputable resources. You're driving the right people to your page, but then you're giving them something to do. So in that vein, if your website's not in the best shape right now, you may want to work with your webmaster or do your own little DIY if you have those skills, and use this time to really improve that. Or at the very least, if you can't redesign the website or you can't change the look of it, hopefully you can maybe change the content a little bit and rethink that based on some of our conversations today. So hopefully that will help as well. But most of all, really, with your website and your social media and all of this content, everything we've talked about in terms of preparing for everything, is just make it easy for people to contact you. You don't want people are already searching for things. People have lists of things to do on their mind. Your customers want to be able to find you if they are looking for you, and prospective customers want to be able to find someone who's reputable, someone who you can trust, and someone who's available. And being available means being online, being consistent, and having your information there for them. So you can do that yourself. You can ask HomeGauge to do it. I'm not sure depending on if you're a customer or not. HomeGauge does do website and SEO, and I know there was another training in this track that talks a little bit more about that in depth. So definitely stick around for that if you're interested in a little bit more progress for your website. And when creating content and creating all of this information, if you do want to, maybe enliven your content creation process a little bit, you can be inspired by different tools. There's all sorts of cool, unique, and random tools online that can help you do things that you didn't think you could do with just a few clicks. And even if you don't know how to do it once you get a program, like I said, there are tutorials everywhere online. You can Google video how to set up blank, and you will find something on it. So make sure you're using tools. You can use tools for images and you can make them more interesting. You can put your own logo on them very, very simply. If you remember back in the day, I think it still exists too, is Paint. There's some that are just as simple, if not more simple than Paint. And you can really create great images for social media and your profiles and other things where they can link. So you can also create more immersive videos. There are some really easy screen share, capture, and edit tools, again, that are free or have free versions, where you can start to draw on videos, or you can record a screen with your audio behind it. And again, it doesn't need to necessarily be super tech savvy person to be doing this. A lot of these are, again, free. They're right online. You click a link, create a quick account, and you can mess around with it right in your browser. So I will send a bunch of links for some tools to check out after we post this session. Again, when you put new content out there, when you're differentiating your content, you're keeping your customers interested, you're letting them know you're around, you're approachable, and you're there. You're also putting effort into your business online. And when people are looking for you, especially on the social media side of things, they want to see a personality, they want to know who they're getting, but they also want to know that you know what you're doing. So, and in that, that in this whole thing, the whole aspect of coronavirus has really put a focus on us, saving money and trying to maximize our time. And this is one of the ways you can do that, is really learning a new tool, or just not even learning it, just going in there and trying it out, seeing what you're comfortable with and what the possibilities are. And then once you know those possibilities, you can do with them what you wish or what you can. And just to touch on it again, most of these have free versions. So not asking anybody to try and spend a bunch of money on all this expensive software. A lot of it does exist for free and right in your browser. So we're at the end of my training. Let's put this all together really quickly. It's really all about filling in the gaps with the correct information, with the consistent information. You can create all of this content on your own for free. We're also here as HomeGauge. We're here to help you in any way possible as well. Everyone's in different stages right now. If you have the time and you want to be setting up your website, we're more than happy to help you with that. If you don't, we've talked about so many different tools for content creation, posting, and dissemination that will really help you as well, and without any money. So really, moral of the story is always be preparing for your next step, or gut punch, or slap in the face, or whatever this is seen as by everybody. When you're prepared, you're setting yourself up for luck to find you, and you will have success in social media. And I think that's also a really interesting way to again, sort of live your life as well. So luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I hope I've helped you fill in some gaps a little bit today in filling that foundation up for you, and that you can join all of the lucky people when all of this is over. So with that, we are going to look at some Q&A. Let's see, Dan Evans, yes. So luck is when preparation meets opportunity, attributed to the Roman philosopher Seneca. Yes, so when my dad would tell me this earlier in life, I never really knew where it came from or whatever. And, my dad was always telling me different things and different ways to live and all that. So I took it with a grain of salt for a little while, but as I got older, I started to consider it, and I thought it was interesting. So, you start Googling these things and you learn kind of the origins. And so I think that was another reason why it's sort of ingrained in me, because I did do the research and I really like where it came from in terms of that philosophy and the history there. So thank you. That's awesome. Okay. What else do we got? So you've got this. Can't see the screen. Well, hopefully that was resolved during it. If not, if you couldn't see the screen, I apologize. But we will be recording these. These sessions have been recorded, so we can put them in our website afterwards. You'll get all the information here. And then also, like I said, I'll be providing a ton of resources for you guys along with the recording, so that you can kind of poke around, check things out, just know what's there for you, so that you can start filling in any gaps where you see fit. Okay, let's see. LinkedIn requests access to my contacts and the authorization to delete contacts. How do I add contacts without giving LinkedIn that type of authorization? This is from Stephen Byrne. That's a great question and a really important question, because obviously right now data is a really big thing for a lot of people. And privacy is also really huge too. And with the social media networks really having a lot of issues with that over the past few years, they have to notify you with sort of any sort of integration and things like that. So unfortunately, that's not really something that you can circumvent. You can go around right now. I understand, that you don't want necessarily to provide the authorizations to delete those contacts. But really, I think, in my opinion, the reason it's asking that is so it makes it easier for you to make changes when you're going between platforms. So I think it's designed to make it easier. I don't think it's designed to try and share their data or to breach any privacy. And of course, they have to let you know now even more in detail than before because of all those issues. So it really is a personal preference on whether you choose to do that or not. I typically don't mind dealing with those things. But again, it's really all on your personal preference. Unfortunately, there's no solution there either that I can provide. Any more questions? If not, oh, here we go. John Buckley. What social media platform is the biggest bang for buck for ROI? That is a great question. It really depends on what your, sorry, I'm just clearing through these here. It really depends on what you're using it for and what your goals are. I would say if you are not looking to spend any money and you have some social media experience, Facebook, for the features that it has and the ability to reach so many different people and for the sheer amount of people on that network, is probably the best bang for your buck organically, since we're talking social media networks. I would say, again, with video, if you're going to spend a little bit of money, that's the cheapest one to advertise on, because YouTube is, again, one of the more differentiated but still really cheap ways to get views. So I'd say YouTube for that. If you are in the, if your business model is more quick response, quick answers, being real time, of course, Twitter is going to be really good because you can get a lot of real time communication there as well. But it's difficult to sort of maintain that. And then LinkedIn is really probably the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to professional things. So if you're looking to maybe post a job listing for another inspector, if you're a multi-inspector agency, or you're looking to connect with people that have professional opinions and a professional network, that's going to be a really big network for you too. So it really depends on what you're doing. Each of them has their own really important benefits. Dan said, looking forward to the links, just not sure where I'll find them. So don't worry, we will be sending next week. We'll send an email once we have everything live for you guys. It'll take us a little bit to process the videos and to get everything up there that we want in terms of resources for everybody. But our goal is next week to have them all live on our website. And once that happens, we will send an email to all of our registrants for this event with the link and to explain if there's any other detail to get into them. Okay. Alejandro, Chris, I want to ask if there's possible to add chatbots for our websites. Can you give me an advice for a cheap and good option? That is a great question. Sarah, if you wouldn't mind writing that down for me so that I can make sure I can provide some cheap and good options for chatbots, that would be really, really helpful. I don't have any right now off the top of my head, but based on my experience, I can make sure that I provide some good resources that you can consider. In terms of chatbots on the websites, if you're referring to HomeGauge created websites from the web department, obviously that's something that we're always considering as we grow our functionality. If it is available right now, I'm not aware of it, but I do know that it's not something that we have not talked about. So there's always stuff in the hopper, and I do believe that would be a really useful function for everybody. So I know that that's definitely on the radar. But as of now, it doesn't come automatically with the websites. And again, I can send you some links for that to give you some cheap options or hopefully maybe even free options for the meantime. Sue wanted to ask, and it's a great question too. Sometimes with all these acronyms, you get lost in just saying them all. What is ROI? So the return on investment. So basically, another way of saying best bang for your buck. Um, your investment, whether it's not just money, it could be time, it could be writing the content, it could be investing your resources that you have, are you ready paid for something like this. So depending on your situation and your goals, what your return on investment is really depends on what type of investment you're making and what makes the most sense for you and your business. Okay, so that ends the Q&A session. There are no more questions now. And of course, if you have anything afterwards, you want to send me an email, that is totally fine. It's very simple, chris@homegauge.com, CHRIS@homegauge.com.